This is my trial against adversity and the book that changed my life. The book that I am speaking of is The Heroin Diaries, A Year in the Life of a Shattered Rock Star by Nikki Sixx. The book was written in 1987 as a memoir or a diary, and it followed Nikki Sixx's journey a year in time while he was battling depression, addiction to heroin and cocaine, and also the toxic relationships that were in his life at that time. This book was actually not the first thing that I discovered about the media. It was actually the soundtrack created by the band that he had developed in 2007, 6 a.m. I was researching some music to put on my iPod, and I came across it, not knowing that Nikki Sixx had been pursuing other projects, and I immediately gravitated towards it just because Motley Crue was my favorite band growing up, and Nikki Sixx I idolized. He was a farm boy from a small town in Idaho, moved to LA to with stars in his eyes, just really trying to make a name for himself. And I always found that quite ambitious, just to pursue your dreams, just to go and do what you got to do to accomplish what you want to in your life. So this new band, 6 a.m., he was the writer, producer, songwriter. He was the bassist, which I found intriguing because he does those same things with Motley Crue, and I found that very impressive that he was able to accomplish that with both bands. At this time in my life, I had feelings of failure and regret. I was at a point in my life when I felt like everything that I had attempted to do to better my life was a complete disaster, complete failure, and I wasn't able to accomplish anything. So I turned to drugs. I was drinking a lot. I was abusing some things that I probably shouldn't have never touched in my life. And I had no direction, no ambition, no goals. I segregated myself from my entire family, from the entire world. I was staying on a couch at my friend's house for months and months and months, just sinking myself into a hole. When I picked up the book for the first time, I was immediately sucked in. Nikki Sixx starts out with, and I quote, "There's something about spending Christmas alone, naked, sitting next to the Christmas tree, gripping a shotgun, that lets you know your life is spinning dangerously out of control." At first, the book seemed very relatable to me. Not so much as educational as I thought it was going to be. It was more the fact that a person like myself who was struggling through life tends to attach themselves to other struggle. And I think that is something that has to do with how relatable it is to each situation. I found that as I read through the first time, I was taught how to fight. I was taught how to fight for my sanity, for my loved ones, for my life in general. Through his struggles and trials, I could see where my path could possibly go. I could also see where the dark path goes. And I realized that I had reached a fork in the road in my life and it was time for change. This book is my favorite because of how relatable it was. It relates to the struggle, the downfall, the depression, the drive, determination, and perseverance that a person does have to go through in their lifetime. And I really felt like it was a testament to the common misconception that you are who you are. You're not stuck in your ways, essentially. You it really opened the door for me to understand that I am not restricted to social dogma and the media and what outside perspective really expects of me. It's about what drives you inside. It's about what ambitions you have personally. It inspired me initially because he was a childhood hero of mine, and he made himself vulnerable to his audience, all the while fighting through the toughest part of his life. He shared every detail that had approached him throughout that entire year, and he triumphed against adversity. And if you look at him today, he is an advocate for drug addiction, for any form of addiction, for depression. You see him on talk shows, you see him on radio shows, and he's an inspiration to many former addicts and people just trying to figure out their life. I don't know where I would be without this book. I honestly don't. And I have complete admiration for the way that he conducted himself through the process and how he communicated to an audience that is very hard to communicate to. Thank you for your time.